Oh, hey.
Oh, wow. Were they in?
They're coming, guys.
Hey!
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We're thinking this is the observatory. And you must be thinking we're the rider. Right
So good to have you guys.
Right on. Well, thank you for hosting us, and we're hoping there's a good thing of water like that where we can. Over here. Oh, right on the troughs there. Let's let the horses cool for a second, and then is there a good spot we can just leave the horses?
We can close the gate there to the road, and then it's all fenced here.
It's fenced in. It's right on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It'll be good to visit and introduce ourselves and hear who you are. And we're going to take care of our horses first, and then and you guys are welcome to come out. They're gentle and sweet.
You're Dave?
I am David.
Meinte.
Good to meet you. And if there's some of the little ones you want to sit on one, we can leave around a little bit. Don't crowd the water.
What is your horse's name?
This is Najee.
Najee. Oh, you're sweating, Najee. You've been really working hard, Najee.
It's been really hot. Totally hot.
It's hard to say because of that.
So Dave, you were not.
What's your horse's name? Oh, you don't know. That's maybe it's not your horse. Huh? You guys know your horse?
Hota.
What's it? Say again?
Hota.
Hota? Do you know yours?
Mandu.
Mandi?
Mandu.
Mandu. Man, they were thirsty.
She's been here for like 5 minutes.
You're welcome.
Would you like some water?
What about right in the middle of this? Do you mind if I just park one of our cars? I'll go look at what that is. Go through the How's the riding?
Really good. Yeah, so road driving is not as great than we get with classes. It's just kind of very different. It's like a lot of some highways even, it's just right along.
So, I have a few more people trickle in, but my name is Dave, and I'm part of this organization, the Tipi Raisers. It's a part of this 400-mile ride. 3 weeks, we're on day 5 or something. And one of the most, 3-4 years ago when we started, the most surprising thing, and I'm a little embarrassed to say that that I learned about the ride is that there is such incredible kindness that we come across in 400 miles. And I was surprised by that. I'm a man that grew up in Denver, Colorado, and I always thought I lived in a friendly city, but my mind had gotten really jaded. And the rancor of the politics of today is in some ways colored my thinking. This ride has helped me understand that this country is in really good shape still, because we all the time ride into communities, and I don't know what the politics of Berthoud are, and I frankly don't care. What I do know is that you've welcomed us into your place, and you've welcomed our horses, and you're feeding us, and there's been such kindness in the emails exchanged back and forth with several of you, and that's all I really care about, is that there is kindness in this country. When I'm not on the ride, I start to doubt that. I think we're incredibly passionate. That's clearly not the case. So we're here to say thank you for your hospitality and your food and a safe place for the horses and water. And,
Ted, leave that door open, or open the other door, the side door. We need to keep the air flowing.
Just leave it open.
That's okay. Part of our ride is we work on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, the home of the Lakota people. There are a number of those people here, and part of what we're trying to do is to build a bridge between non-Lakota people and the Lakota Nation. And when there is kindness from communities like yours, that makes that effort much easier. So I'm just thankful for all of that that you're offering us. Sue, do you want to start with a prayer beyond those words or not? Off that? No? Okay. I'm thankful for the safety of the horses. They've carried us. It's the heat. Really grateful for the horses. We had one we were riding in Longmont. We had just gotten going and we were crossing a bridge, and it was on the horse, and the bridge was at Trex, and man, it looked like a fairly new bridge, and it's Longmont, you know, it's not Pine Ridge, and the horse just started more than once, fought through here.
5 holes in the bridge.
What's that?
5 holes.
5 holes in that bridge. The horse just started going through the bridge. And man, I don't know how you got thrown off, but I thought you were going over the metal railing, and the horse pulled his shoe off, but nobody was seriously hurt. So I'm grateful for the safety of the Shunko, the Horse Nation, and for our riders. We had my son over there who got kicked by another horse just around the bend there. He's walking, so I'm grateful that he doesn't have a broken shin bone and we're not at the hospital. And you think this was an incredibly dangerous rider. It really is. We had another rider who fell off. He seems to be okay. There we go. All these stories, it really was a really nice day, but I'm still grateful for the safety of our horses and the riders, and to come into a good, safe, happy place like this. I'm very grateful. So, looks like we have a lot of really good food to eat. I'll turn it over to you as our host, Meinte. And any words that you have. And then
I don't know how you want to run the program. You want to do the circle first, you want to eat
I
first?
think we'd love to eat first.
Yeah. We have pizza on the table here. We have plates in the back. Maybe we can bring the plates over to this table. Oh, there's here. Okay. The plates here. There's drinks in coolers all throughout the building here. There's water, there's Gatorade, and everything. And then while you guys eat, I can talk a little bit about the Lakota Star Wall that we have here in the Observatory. It is really cool for us, at least. I would say maybe, how do we organize this so it doesn't become a mob scene? Our riders, let's get the riders to eat first, or at least get the pizza first.
In our way, we would ask the elders to go first.
Okay,
Our young
would be
people,
fine. But nobody feels old, so.
There's a word in Lakota, it's the gray hair.
Pizza eaters, get up there.
There you go. Just say a little bit. Some of you may know what's going on, and some of you may have read a little bit or heard from a neighbor about what this whole thing is. And so I wanted to just provide a little bit of context. And then one of the young girls from Pine Ridge, she's
Yes.
has asked if she could dance. So I'm super grateful for her willingness. That was any time that somebody asks if they can share part of their culture and their way of life, for me is just an honor. And so I'm really proud of you, Bernadine, and grateful for your courage around that. So for those who don't know, there's a nonprofit, Ikciya, which in the Lakota language very, very loosely translates to the Tipi Raisers. This was started on the Rosebud Reservation in 2009. For various reasons, transferred over to Pine Ridge. Pine Ridge is a Lakota reservation, about 5 hours north of here. I always say 6 hours north of Denver. And our goal is to just help address some of the issues of poverty up there, as well as to bridge the gap between the Lakota people and the non-Lakota people. And so you can obviously tell that there are some Lakota riders here, and then a lot of other non-Lakota people. There are some folks from the University of Georgia, from Maryland, certainly the Front Range from Texas,
Wisconsin.
from Wisconsin, right? So people have just, this is our 4th year of the ride, and people have just coming and joining the ride. Some people join for a day or two, some people ride the whole ride. And the goal is fundamentally to just bring people from all walks of life together to create some better understanding. So we, man, I'm really excited. Just, I know nothing about the Lakota Star Chart. The fact that we're eating dinner and we rode our horses into a place where there's this is just really a very cool thing. So I really look forward to that. Would strongly suggest that the young people also stay and listen and learn about that. And then Terry has offered to sing some songs for us. Terry,
Just two.
And if we want him to sing a third one, we have to. Terry joined us last year on the ride for a good part of the ride, and in the Lakota way, the drummers they offer just a really important part of their culture. They sing us out in the morning, and they welcome us in the evening. And sometimes when we're really struggling during the ride, we'll ask Terry to come out and to sing for us. And so the mistake we've made is to let him know how important he is to us.
Big head.
Yeah. So he was going to sing, and then Bernadine was going to dance. And
We use a medicine called humor, laughter. We all carry this medicine. You all like to feel happy and good in your own way. So this is dance is like to make her feel happy. It represents the butterfly, how they fly around, the shawl movements, the leg work, the ability. So there we go. Don't get too much, it's getting late. Alright, there. I kind of like broke her arm. I did another arm dance here. Untwisted, I broke it, but she's out there. This one is called like a crow hop. It's like a stomp dance song, so just a song and sing part. It's ready. Just a jump around song and do movements. Good for the heart.
Better than, right? I can. So I'd like to welcome everybody to Little Thompson Observatory. I'm Meinte, I'm the president here. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Lakota Star Wall. I don't know if people here can see it at all. And we have been in operation here since 1999. This is an all-volunteer, non-profit observatory that is open to the public. We are open by appointment. People can come with their family or friends, schedule an evening, and we open the telescope, and you have to bring clear skies. Right? But 2006, we decided to build onto the facility. So where this blue line is in the carpet, we broke that wall down and added to the facility, put another telescope up, and then we had a blank wall. So we looked for other cultures that have pictures in the sky. And it was always my wish to come up with a Native American Indian pictures. So we went to the local Colorado tribes, but they all have oral history, oral traditions. So they don't write anything down. You talk to 2 or 3 elders, and you get 2 or 3 different stories. So we finally ended up via Jim Tolstrup in Fort Collins, at the Rosebud Reservation in Mission, South Dakota. I talked to Mr. Rubo. I forgot his name. I think that's his name. Who is he? Rebo? Rubo. He is the head of Lakota Studies at Ventimiglia University, the tribal university at Mission, South Dakota. And they had a book published in the 1980s about Lakota Star knowledge. Apparently there was a lawsuit that was initiated by the white man, us, to sue the tribe to take lands away from the Rosebud Reservation to go explore for oil and minerals. And the tribe was vehemently opposed to that. So there was a lawsuit, and the lawsuit, the judge finally ruled that whoever was here first had to say so about what happened. So the white man says, hey, Columbus, everybody know Columbus? We're here first. And the Indian says, no, wait a second. Look at these constellations in the sky. When we drew these, the sky was here. Now they're here in the sky, 50 degrees further. And if you know that the sky moves 1 degree every 72 years. Wow. You calculate, anybody in the math wizard here? 3,500. Good, Mark. The nerd among us.
I got to show that engineering degree once in a while.
So 3,500 years beats 1492 Columbus, right? Hands down. So the tribe got to say, and the tribe didn't give up any of the land. So at that time, Ronald Goodman decided then to document all that research that went into that 3,500 year existence and document the sky, the Native American Lakota Star Knowledge. So he wrote a little book, Lakota Star Knowledge. It's about 30 or 40 pages. You can still find it on Amazon sometimes. And it is wonderful. So it has these pictures in it. So we felt very good about using that information to put it on our wall. So we had 3 students from the high school, the artsy kids, that started the picture to lay it out. And then we had one of our volunteers who was an artist, a real artist, finish it up. And it looks really, really nice. So what we have is basically connect the dots differently. We have a slightly different view than the Greek-Roman wall, which is on the far side. We basically have things that we recognize ourselves. Ted, can you give me the green laser pointer, please, in the back? This one is dying. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Yep. So we have shapes that we all recognize, right? Anybody know what that is? Big Dipper. Not in Lakota knowledge. This is the wooden spoon, and I don't even want to try to pronounce that word. But it is used to scoop the hot coal, the hot embers, out of the fire to light the peace pipe. And the bowl of the peace pipe is right here. It's called dried willow in English. Somebody can translate. And it is a combination of the western Aries, the ram constellation, and triangulum, the triangle. But the Lakota added them together and made a bowl of the peace pipe out of it. So dried willow is what they have in the bowl. So the scoop is used to light the peace pipe. Very nice story. Then we have an elk. Every good tribe has to have an elk, right? We have a turtle, salamander, thunderbird. We can do without a thunderbird, right? We have a fireplace, a little kiva fireplace. We have the Bear's Lodge, which is our Death Stars and top of the bodies from Gemini the twins. So Gemini the twins go on like here, these stars, all Gemini the twins. And then we have this animal, and the story is not very conclusive about what animal that is. If that is a eagle, if that is a head of a buffalo looking right at you, I don't know what it is either. What I know is it goes through the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters constellation. It goes through Orion the Hunter in the Western civilization, the belt of Orion. It goes through Rigel, not Rigel, Spica. It goes through Arcturus, Gemini the twins, and it goes to Capella. So it is kind of an interesting circle that you make in the sky. The circle, called the racetrack, and I'll get into that in a second, is also the outline of the Black Hills as seen from space. So how did the Lakota know that 3,500 years ago? How did they figure that out? Were they the first to land on the moon? I don't know. But anyway, they came up with this. And the story with the racetrack is very important. But the story is that we are still here because of the racetrack. As the story goes, in the beginning, there were animals and plants, right? And the animals had a good time eating plants and being happy together. And then a few people started to appear. The people were not so nice. They mistreated the animals, they ate the animals, they killed the animals. So the animals decided, let's have a powwow. Like every good tribe does, right? You have to have a powwow. And so they said, okay, let's have a race around the racetrack with a representative of the four-legged animals and a representative of two-legged animals. So you can guess what they chose for four-legged representative, right? Buffalo. Buffalo, of course. How about the two-legged animal? A tiny little magpie bird. Right? Stacking the odds in your favor, right? So the race started, the buffalo starts galloping away, and the little magpie animal cannot quite keep up, but then uses his little pea brain, flies up, sits on the head of the buffalo, and let the buffalo do all the work, right? And right before the finish line, jumps off, wins the race. And because the bird is a biped, two-legged animal, we're still here. Because they're not too bad, they're like me. But that's why people are still on Earth. One of the great stories of the Lakota Star knowledge. Another one has to do with this spoon. You see this missing star? The story goes, there were two Lakota girls fell in love with a couple stars. Don't ask me how, but after long successful dating game. They married, and the stars took the girls up to the star world, the spirit world. Good. And they lived happily ever after. Except, in every drama, you have to have a problem, right? So the problem was one of the girls got homesick. So what do? You're up in the spirit world. So the girl took a turnip and pulled the turnip out of the ground, creating a hole in the ground in the spirit world. Through the hole, she could see the reservation, Rosewood Reservation, way down there. She then started to braid, got a turnip together into a rope. She thought it was long enough, she started climbing down. It wasn't long enough, she fell to her death. To make a long story short, the stars took pity on her, like in every good novel, right? Revived her and brought her back up to the spirit world. Ever since, this is called the spirit hole. So when the baby is born, the body comes out of the woman, and the sign is the right side up triangle, or a cone, if you will. But then it means the spirit goes. So the spirit comes out of the spirit world through the spirit hole, joins the body, and then we have the upside down triangle on top. So now we have that bow tie shape that signifies a real human being. When the person dies, the body goes to the ground, the spirit goes back to the spirit world through the spirit hole. So these are the guardian stars, these four, to keep that hole open. So we can keep having real human beings, and spirits go back and forth to the spirit world. I mean, wonderful stories in the Lakota knowledge. There is a handout in the back of the room, in the corner, that has both of the star walls on it. It has a Lakota on one side with a reference to that book. So if you guys want to find the book, go Google it or go on Amazon or wherever, ask your bookstore, you can get that book and you can read all the stories. There are many, many more stories about this. So that is how we did this. I brought pictures of this over to Rosebud, to the Sedalia University, and they said they would try to put one on their science building, their Lakota Studies building. We had a ceremony in here in 2011, in November, when one of your elders, Sam, moved Scam. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but he lives in Pine Ridge. He must be 70, 75 by now. And Sam came here with the Lakota drum circle and Lakota singers from Aurora or from Denver, I think. And we had a great ceremony here to consecrate this mural. You think this is busy? At that night we had 160 people in this room. It's just amazing. The only person that was missing was the fire marshal. That was a good thing, because our occupancy is 49. Because we don't have a sprinkler system. So most people that we teach or talk to about these constellation walls, they like the Lakota much better than the Greek Roman. So, go figure. Any questions? So grab a handout and grab one of those flyers in the back on the way out. It will be wonderful, so you study a little bit more on it. Yes, Dave?
My brother here has a beautiful story about the stars.
Want to share? Good. Come on up.
Hey. Wow, nice.
I hope we did the spelling right.
Yeah, they're all right.
Could you pronounce some of them for us?
I'll read them and I ain't even saying either. There's a Lakota story, I don't know if it's just a story that I've heard, and it's a very interesting story. A story about the star, right?
Yes.
Okay. Pinhole, like little bit of hope. Look at this, there's all the hope, a lot of hope out there. Hey, at one time there was only animals on the earth. Only animals. Kashla, the spirit up there, the big spirit. He was nice to the animals. It was never at nighttime. It was never darkness. The animals, they were brought down here to do their own thing. The elks were made to eat the grass. The bears were made to eat the fish and some berries. And once in a while they might catch a deer or whatnot. The wolves and the coyotes, and the eagles, they all had their own jobs to do down here. They're all designated to do their own thing. But one time, because they could see so much, grass grew tall, trees, everything was big. A lot of sun. Pretty soon the animals started a war between themselves. The bears were fighting the elks. The wolves were fighting the coyotes. The owls were fighting the hawks. Wars all over the place. Wars. Kashla, he heard this. He looks down and sees all this fighting going on down there. But you have not been designed to do this. You're not here to fight one another. As punishment, I'll take the dark cloth and cover your sky. So, the whole world is covered up in this black cloth. So they have council. Make this big fire. Everybody, all animals, gathered around it. Great big grizzly bear goes out there and he says, "Hey, which one of you great big birds? You eagles, you hawks, you owls, one with the sharp claws, one with the big wings. Which one of you can fly up there and pull that black cloth off the sky?" So the big old golden eagle stands up and says, "I'm the biggest and baddest here. Go ahead, what do you want me to do?" He goes, "Go up there, pull that black cloth down. You can see who we're trying to fight, what we're trying to do here." The golden eagle says, "Yeah, the biggest one here, I'll do it." "Yeah, man." So he takes off. He's flying. For about 3 days. By the time he gets up there, he goes and grabs that cloth. He's too tired. He can't do it. His claws scratch the cloth. He doesn't. He falls asleep. He falls to his death. So the other birds, they all follow suit. Next was the bald eagle. "You pull that black cloth from the sky." He said, "I don't know why you asked golden eagle. We're the baddest here, man. Shoot, we can do it." So he takes off. He starts flying. Well, same thing. You can barely get up there. You don't even get from near the ceiling to the sky. And can you get that black cloth? He falls down too. They go through all the birds. All the birds tried. They couldn't do it. The owls, the hawks, the eagles, golden eagles. They all tried. They couldn't do it. Pretty soon, all the animals, they start getting an argument again. "Hey man, I thought they said that they could do this. I thought we were going to have daytime. We're going to have lights. Can't see nothing." And they start blaming one another. "It's your fault. You didn't do this. Look at cheated cars. We made that black cloth come over. It's your fault." "No, it's your fault. I didn't do it. You did." Start arguing again. Well, the grizzly bear is standing out there. He hears his voice. "Crazy horse, where are you going?" Anyways, the grizzly bear, he hears this little tiny voice. This little tiny voice says, "I can do it." So he's like, "Hey, shh, you guys, shh, listen. You hear that?" Everybody stops. You get quiet. You start to listen. "We don't hear nothing." He goes, "No, I heard somebody say something. Somebody, whoever it was, who was it? Was that you back there? What, you back there? Was that you? Who was it? Come forward, stand up, show yourself. Who is it?" So again, he hears this voice saying, "I can do it." So he's sitting there and he's looking, like, "Hey, where are you? Show yourself. Where are you? What is it? Who is it that said this?" So everybody say, "What they say?" He said, "I heard them say they could do it. I'm going to know who this is. Come forward. Show yourself." Right in front of him floats a little tiny hummingbird about this big. Little tiny wings, little tiny beak, no claws. They start laughing at him. "Ha ha 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 ha! Look at this little tiny guy, man. See, the biggest eagles trying to fly up there. They couldn't do it. What makes you, little tiny thing, think you can go all the way up there?" They start laughing at him. He goes, "No, I can do this. Ask me to. Ask me. I'll do this." So they're laughing at him. "Ha ha ha, look at this little tiny guy. He thinks he can do this." And, "All right, well, you're rolling around on the ground laughing at him. Go ahead. Pull that cloth off the sky. Goes, I'm going to do it. Takes off. Flies away. So they're all sitting by the campfire. Yeah, this guy, man, look at him. He can't do nothing. He ain't got no big wings. He ain't got sharp claws. He can't do it. But one day, way up there, towards the north, one big hole, light here. Pretty soon, another one over here, and another one over there. What he was doing was poking holes in that black box. He said, he came down, he said, I'm gonna draw you guys. I'm gonna remember you. So he starts making the elk, the turtle. He starts drawing them in the stars, the sky. And you look at it now, that little hummingbird. Little person, somebody small, to do something so big. That's my story.
It's really fun. On this ride, we have this, people from all over the place, and our roles are to get defined, and we have our storytellers we love.
Yes.
Terry has like a dual job. He's like the camp comedian and the singer. It's fun to have them step into their roles.
No, we have another storyteller too. Andrew, you willing? You don't have your ditch here, but we have one more storyteller here. He's going to talk about far, far away land. This is Andrew, one of our volunteers.
Hello, everybody. I've been a volunteer here for many years, so many I can't remember.
Well, it's less than 20.
Less than 20, but it's pushing it. And when I talk to, particularly to kids groups, you know, part of the presentation is that I tell them about how stars are born. They start from an enormous cloud of gas, like in the far right picture there. That's a huge cloud of gas called the Orion Nebula. And that hydrogen gas starts to condense. As it condenses, it gets hotter and hotter, and then when it reaches 30 million degrees, which is hot enough to toast your marshmallows, a hydrogen fusion takes over, and it's fused into helium, releases energy, and poof, a star is born. Well, as you can imagine, not all cultures agree with that story. I suspect the Lakotas have a different, it's the hummingbird. It's the hummingbird poked holes in the sky to awaken the stars. Well, one of my favorite cultures, it's an Aboriginal culture from Australia. And the Australian Aborigines are a race of black people for whom I have an enormous amount of admiration. Because scientists tell us they go back for an incredible 40,000 years without a change in their culture or their laws or their religion or their beliefs. They've had to make a few adjustments for the white man's intrusion. Other than that, it has remained the same.
much like the Lakota culture has remained the same for all of those centuries. Well, the Aborigines believe that there was a very, very early time called the dream time, which goes back so far that only the wise men in the Aboriginal cultures know the stories. And I'm going to take you back to a time during the dream time. And when I talk to kids, I sit on the floor and I have them form a circle around me. And I tell them that at this particular point in time during the dream time, a group of Aborigines were seated around a campfire, much as we are seated here. It was nighttime, and although there wasn't a single cloud in the sky, it was the darkest possible sky you can imagine, because the stars had not yet been created. And there is one rule in all cultures, I suspect, which is the same. I suspect the Lakota may have the same rule, and that is when the fire starts to die down, the youngest boy is sent to fetch wood. And we'll call this young boy Willie. So Willie got up and he walked to the nearest woods and he found an old hollow log. And I wasn't planning on telling this story. I have something that looks very much like a hollow log that I bring. And he brought it over, and just before he threw it on the fire, Willie looked down and he saw that it was covered with fireflies and glowworms and beautiful glowing insects. And because Willie had a respect for all forms of life, as do the Aborigines today, he very lovingly scraped off all of the fireflies and the glowworms and the insects, and he poured them into the end of the hollow log. And he raised it to his mouth, and he gave a mighty blow. And all of the fireflies and the glowing insects, they shot out of the end of the hollow log, and they shot up into the sky. And the larger insects, they just plastered themselves every which way across the sky. But the most beautiful, tiniest glowing insects, they stuck in a long glowing band, which today we call the Milky Way. And Willie was so astonished by the sound that he made that he still didn't throw it on the fire. And instead, he sat down and he played and they sang and they danced all night long. And it sounded something like this. is the true story of how the stars, the Milky Way, and the didgeridoo were created at the same time. Thank you.
Wanted to just close with a prayer song. Can we be around, or should we, in the Lakota way, we would say, sing our doshas, our see you laters. Are people leaving from your group now, or will you be around and we'll say our doshas after we load?
That's up to them, I don't know.
We'll be around.
All right. All right, riders, let's go and get those horses loaded. Quick thing, Adam, you work on the 4, Waylon and Jason on the 12 or the 6.
All right, great. Guys, there.
You have a horse that's got a halter on. Get a halter on this horse. Go over here and get on.
So, like, where do I move my saddle blanket and your saddle?
Don't worry about that right now, okay?
Mud puddle.
One more time, then you go get
En wij zijn
Yeah, have a good trip.